How's it? We are working with Lightroom today. Love Lightroom. We're going to use Classic CC, and what you're going to do is find your photographs first. Only the final photographs that you want to edit, you can just click and drag them right in to your Lightroom, or you can go to File, Import Photos and Video, and then select like the folder where it's at for that. And I'm just going to select my source, drag those in, and there we go, and import them, and there we go. If you hover your mouse on this little arrow, you'll see develop. We want to make, we're going to develop our photographs, and this is what we have. On the right side is where we're going to be making our changes. Here's a color temperature, cooler colors, yellow colors. Now, do not make these pictures look abnormal or artificial. We're just doing minor touches. Okay, so maybe I want just a little bit of a warmer look to it, just a little bit. My tint, I'm going to leave my tint alone. That's some crazy colors. My exposure, if I wanted this like a little bit of brighter, okay, I can bring that up a little bit. My contrast, notice how my colors are popping more. The contrast, the yellow is really coming out. So I'm going to pull up my contrast. The highlights are the brighter, like the light colors will be lighter, and the dark, or then the light colors will get darker. So if I want to like make my highlights more highlight, and then I want to see my shadows, I'm kind of eliminating the shadows, and it's creating more of a contrast. So here, if it's showing the shadow, but I don't need to see that shadow, right? It actually looks better without the shadow, like this, right? Again, make sure it still looks natural. Here's my whites. So I can bring up my whites or my blacks. So I'm going to make it darker so there's more of a contrast. Clarity is how much of focus or details it is. So you can bring up the clarity if you want it to be more focused. Vibrance is the colorfulness of the colors. And saturation. Okay, we talked about that before, but that's desaturated, or you can bring up the saturation and bring out more of the colors. But again, do not go crazy on this, okay? Now, tone curves, okay? As you see, it has a guide. You see this is the low term, the mid term. I can bring this up or bring it down, depending on what look I want. But you kind of want to match it according to the suggested level. So notice the level is like here, but I don't want to go that high. So I'm going to bring it down. I might go a little bit down here. So it says here, this is my shadows, this is my darks, and this is my lights. So if I want more shadows, I can bring this up, or I can bring it down, and notice the shadows are popping. So bring down the shadows, maybe bring down the darks, okay? And then maybe my lights, I want to bring up the lights. So it's kind of like an HDR effect. Like the darker colors get darker, the brighter colors get brighter. And that's what I had. Okay, the colors. So this is yellow. So if I wanted to change the yellow tint, I can. So this is selective color. It's really a creative way to choose only certain colors of your photograph to change. So I could do that. And then split toning, okay? We won't touch that today. We've done enough. Let's go detail. This is the amount of sharpness. You can kind of see how sharp the photograph is. And we're gonna skip the other one, transform. We already kind of cropped it and transformed it enough, but this is where you could rotate it and scale it, which we're not going to do. So I'm going to undo that, Command Z. Here's effects. Okay, so this is like a vignette, but we are not going to put vignettes on our photographs because that would make them look unnatural. But if I go this way, okay, it looks, see it's dark on the sides and lighter on the sides, but we're not going to do this for this assignment, although later, and again, feather is the softness on the outside, later for another assignment, you may want to play around with that one. I'll put that back at 0. Collaboration we don't need, and then we're done with that. So then when you're done with it, you can export the photograph, okay? And see it says exporting the file. And then if you look in your picture, this was the before, and then this was the after, okay? Let's see. Another photograph, again, you might want to make this a little bit more darker and then bring up the lights. Maybe bring out the red and the vibrance. Okay, maybe for saturation, bring out the red and the saturation of only the red. You know, you can go into only the red color and then choose that. Maybe if it's a little bit darker, you could bring up this brightness in here. Shadows is a really good one to contrast. Like you really want to do a good job like here. See? This is my darks. I want to bring down my darks. See how it's like nice and dark now? And I can come up here and bring up my brights so you get more of a contrast. Okay, so you can go for that kind of a look. And then I can go to maybe my vibrance and saturation, bring it up just a little bit. And I can even go up to my blue if I want to change the tint of my blue. Okay, so that's another good way of editing a picture, but again, make sure they all look natural. So if you made let's say you made a bunch of changes on the right side to your contrast, shadows, and things, you can save that as a preset right here. So you can hit the plus sign, create preset, and let's call this shadow, and then it's basically going to save all those settings I just did, the ones that are checked, and I can hit create, and then if I go to another photograph, so let's say I wanted to create that same contrast things to this photograph, which I may want to. I can go in here, user presets, and hit shadow, and then, but notice how that one, it doesn't look very good. They also have other presets, you know, creative, that can be kind of interesting, but again, if it doesn't look natural, do not use it. I want these photographs to look pure. These are just little editing details, not big changes. Again, the shadow, I can hover over it. Notice the shadow looks actually better here. See that? It's actually okay there. So I can hit shadow, and then maybe I can go to my gram and maybe bring up the lights a little bit. Okay? Maybe bring down the darks a little bit and adjust it even after I use a template. And again, I can come in and do my tints and get the look that I want. But yeah, have fun with Lightroom and your photographs, and just complement your great lighting and photography, but not replace it.